Jeremy was born in Forest Grove, Oregon, and grew up getting to know and loving nature. He ventured through the woods every day in the summer with his best friends, Nick and Max. Jeremy recently planned them a trip to venture the redwood forest, embracing the beauties it had to offer. It was 8 a.m. Saturday morning as the men gathered their things and went into the ranger station to ask for a map. When they went in, they were greeted by a very shy man who looked like it was the first day on the job. Jeremy asked for a map, and the ranger gave him a map and a little box with a button on it. "Excuse me, sir, but we only need the map," voiced Jeremy as he tried to return the box back to the ranger. "I'm afraid that you'll have to keep the box. Over the last month, 12 people have gone missing in these woods, and we don't need any more. The button alerts us at the station if you ever get in trouble," said the man behind the counter. So the men grabbed the box and their gear and trudged off into the famous vast redwood forest. As they started to roll along, so did the fog. The fog seemed to be getting stronger and stronger as they went through the woods, to a point where they could barely see each other. Then they witnessed a big black creature running through the woods. The men all gathered closely and pulled out their binoculars. When they looked, they were in awe to see a big black bear running through the thick fog. As time passed, nighttime was beginning to fall, and the fog was becoming thicker as they kept trudging through the woods until they finally decided to just go back home. Knowing Jeremy's efforts of planning the trip, they continued on their way back to the station the way they used to as children. As they were walking, Nick thought that they saw a building up in the distance and thought that maybe they had made it back. But as they approached, they were disappointed when they found out that it was just a cabin in the middle of nowhere. When they got to the door, it was already opening before they knocked. They were embraced by a huge man who towered over the top of them and had to look up to meet his eyes. He stood there with a sinister smile on his face. "Hey, fellers, what can I help you with this evening?" the man said in a cheerful voice. "We're just looking for directions to get back to the Prairie Creek Visitor Center," asked Jeremy. "Oh, there is no need for that. It will be dark soon, and we are a long ways away. You men can just stay over at my place, and I can give you directions in the morning," said the man as he opened the door for the men to come in. "That won't be necessary. All we need are directions. I won't want to come in and intrude into your home," explained Jeremy. "No, I insist. The name's Paul," as he shook their hands and walked in, leaving the door open for the others to follow him in. As they walked into the cabin, they saw lots of antiques laid out on the counters and stuffed animals hanging out from the sides of the wall. Another thing that caught their eyes was a huge gun safe hidden in the corner. "I can start cooking up some dinner for us, but first I have to go outside and bring in the squirrels I shot today," said Paul as he left the cabin. "I'm not quite sure I trust this guy. He just seems too mysterious. I don't know if I want to spend the night with this guy," explained Jeremy. With his suspicion, Jeremy started to look around the cabin to see who this man really was. In the gun safe, he saw two AK-47 assault rifles, along with a revolver and another handgun. Then, Jeremy spotted a chest in the back corner of the cabin, hidden by coats he had hanging on the wall. Jeremy really wanted to know who he was spending the night with, so he went over to the chest and opened it up. What he found inside made Jeremy get up and run over to his friends. "What is it, Jeremy? What did you find?" asked Max as he became very scared as well. "I found the IDs and wallets of about 12 people. Those are probably the people that went missing," screamed Jeremy. The men all became very frightened and assumed Paul was a killer who had been killing people who came into the forest. They decided to press the button on the box they received to call help so Paul wouldn't kill them. The men sat and waited for help to arrive, but heard nothing. They heard a knock on the door, and they all quickly ran and hid inside the cabin. "Hello? Is anybody in there?" asked a familiar voice as they started to slowly open the door. The men quickly looked at each other and wondered who was at the door. The ranger then walked in the front door and greeted the men. He explained how he heard their alarm and came right away. He said then he saw Paul with a gun aimed right at him, but explained how he was quicker and placed him under arrest. The man then explained how they found all the wallets and IDs of the missing people. The ranger was relieved to know that they finally resolved this problem and guided the men back to the station. "Thank you for everything. We can't thank you enough for what you did," said Jeremy.